Welcome back to episode 9 of Let's Talk. Let's talk about life part 1. So, I'm going to give you a little bit of a backstory. So, a while ago, a few years ago, I decided, I can't just keep talking my talk anymore. Like, I've always been pro life, even when I was on my, wayward path. I never set out from, you know, believing that babies shouldn't be murdered, quite frankly. But then I kind of got to a point where I was like, I've never visited, a pro-life clinic. I've never, talked to anybody who has thought about an abortion and not gotten one, or even maybe had an abortion, and doesn't regret it. Like, I've never talked to any of these women before. And so I decided a few years ago I'm going to do so. And the video we're going to watch today, I actually posted when I recorded it, but it was 2 years ago. I wasn't really on my dad's show that much. I didn't have this podcast yet, and so it kind of fell to the side. And so I'm bringing it back, especially just with all of the pro-life talk recently, with Trump and JD Vance and all that, President Trump and Vice President JD Vance, I feel like I should say. Um, I feel like it's important to kind of bring some of these talks back in these conversations. And so today we're going to be listening to Bree's pro-life story. So I recorded this on my phone, no microphone, so the audio is like a little iffy, but and this is going to be a short episode, but with a really big impact. So please take a listen to Bree's pro-life story. So when did you find out you were pregnant?
I found out I was pregnant when I was 20 years old. I was going to community college. I was partying a lot with my boyfriend and also doing drugs. And I found out I was 4 days late, actually, and I was really nauseous. And I kind of had the feeling that I was pregnant, but I decided to take a test. And it was faint. There's a faint positive line. And so then I went to, I heard about it, Intervisions, which is a pregnancy center. And they do like free pregnancy testing and STD testing. And I'd heard about it from a family friend, and I decided to make an appointment that morning. And I did go. And they did, in fact, tell me I was pregnant. I cried a lot with the nurse that told me, but she was extremely positive and basically gave me quite a bit of resources, letting me know it's okay. And she just made me really comfortable when I found out I was pregnant.
Yeah. Talk a little bit more with me about how you were feeling at that time.
I was scared. I had just signed an apartment lease with my roommate the month prior, and it was not something I thought that was going to happen so soon with my boyfriend. I'd only known my boyfriend we had been dating for 5 months when I found out I was pregnant. It was not unexpected, but I was just in awe that I was pregnant. I was excited at the same time, but also just kind of scared what was going to happen in the future. It was just unexpected.
Yeah.
I was happy at the same time.
So did you end up telling anyone?
Yes, so when I found out I was pregnant, I didn't tell anyone the first day. I was just, I had a lot of emotions, and I texted my boyfriend stating that I wanted to meet him. I wanted to meet him, and I told him he was happy and evenly nervous at the same time. And then I told my parents over the phone. I was really nervous, not knowing what they'd say to me, because they always told me to not have sex before marriage. So I wasn't sure what their reaction would be, letting them know I was pregnant at 20. But they were extremely supportive and excited for me. I'm excited that they're going to have their first grandchild.
And what were the factors in your decision to keep the baby and not have an abortion?
Yes. So my parents are pro-life, but also I feel like I've been able to kind of figure out what I want in my life. Um, I've always thought of having a lot of kids. I always want like 4 kids. I've always thought of being a mother. That's something I really wanted as young as 6 years old. um, I was told to abort because I wasn't married by family members, by my own roommate. I was told repeatedly to have an abortion, but I knew in my heart that I wanted my daughter, and I felt like it helped me a lot to figure out what I wanted in my life, um, and it helped me not do drugs anymore. It helped me become a stronger person and to figure out what I wanted in life. Because I felt like before I had my daughter, I just kind of drank a lot and I did drugs and I didn't really have a purpose in life. And when I found out I was pregnant, that all changed. And I felt like God did that in my life because He knew what I needed. And I feel like if I didn't get pregnant, I'd probably still be doing drugs and going the wrong path. And I think choosing life was really important for me. And it was what I needed.
And what was it like after you gave birth?
My family was really supportive. I kind of figured out who my real friends were when I found out I was pregnant. Like my roommate, she left. The roommate who told me to have an abortion, she left. The friends that partied a lot, they left. I basically gripped onto my family when I had my daughter, and that's who really supported me, was my family.
So, do you ever regret not having an abortion then?
No, I don't regret it one bit. I feel like that was something that is more than just a coincidence because I was so heavily drinking and doing drugs. I felt like that was something that I needed, was to have some sort of leadership and to parent. I feel like that was something that needed to happen. But I do choose life, and I don't regret my having an abortion at all. I don't regret not having an abortion.
And if you could go back in time, what would you tell yourself?
Stay strong. I'm a single mom now, but it does get better. It really does.
And last question, if someone out there is listening and is considering having an abortion or not having an abortion, what would you say to her?
To stay strong. I know that's so vague, but to stay strong, and just look at the options in your community. When I just a simple Google search, when I found out about Intervisions, they had a nurse that was 24/7 that I was able to text and I talked to at 11 o'clock at night. The night I found I was pregnant. There are resources out there, and it's very beneficial to someone who doesn't know where to go or what path to take.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And that was Bree's pro-life story, and I listened to that actually today. I wanted to kind of get my fresh reaction from it. I haven't listened to that video in 2 years or watched that video. And so, watching that, it breaks my heart in a way because, you know, she was essentially abandoned, and not by her family. Her family was there, but sometimes it can feel like it can be hard when your friends abandon you, or even, the father of her child. And so I commend Brie for taking the time to sit with me and to have this story and to tell the story, but I commend her for pushing through it. I think our culture has a way of making abortion seem like the easy way out. You go in, you get it done and you leave, and that's that. Your life is forever perfect now because you can do whatever you want to do. But, us as mothers, and I never even understood it until I was pregnant with my daughter Autumn, you bond. And not even right away, but sometimes it's bonding in the sense of like your body feels different, and so you notice this, of this baby that's changing your body. And sometimes it can suck being pregnant, but then you just have those moments like going in and hearing the heartbeat, and you bond. And not even that. I mean, when you go, it's a traumatic experience. And I've talked to women about this, their experience with going, and not really realizing what they're getting into, that it's not just one and done and everything's fine. And so I commend Bree for taking the time to sit with me that day 2 years ago. And I have other stories that I want to share with you guys that I recorded as well that I never put out. And so I reached out to Bree, actually. I just kind of wanted a little bit of an update from her regarding, how she is, how is her daughter, how is she doing today? And so, why don't you take a quick listen with me?
A quick little update. It's been 2 years, and I have really drawn closer to the Lord. Um, Jenna is 6 years old now, and I homeschool, and I'm a stay-at-home mom now. I met Chase, who I am engaged to, and we have a son, and he is 8 months old. So I am extremely blessed, and the Lord has shown me in the right direction and has given me an opportunity to stay at home with my children and homeschool.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk, Episode 9, Let's Talk About Life, Part 1. Please stay tuned as I unveil these videos that I recorded a couple years ago. And honestly, I would love to go find some other women to talk to as well. If you are interested, feel free to shoot me an email, Anna with one N, Hibbs23@gmail.com. And you can listen to this episode on YouTube, Rumble, X, and follow me on Instagram and X as well, and Facebook as well. Thanks so much for listening.